You know, Christmas is usually my favorite time of year, but as I've grown up, what I've noticed is that I enjoy Christmas a whole lot more the younger I was. Where are my presents? Where are my presents? It's almost Christmas. Santa, where are you? Just kidding. Today, guys, I want to talk about what I did in order to build my credit. So if we take a journey back almost a decade now, about 9 years ago, when I was a senior in high school, my mom thought it was if I could speak. My mom thought it would be a good idea to open up a checking account and a credit card account for me. Every time I would work, I would throw some money in my savings and then obviously keep money in my checking. So from early on, I started using my credit card more as a debit card. If I was going out to eat, or if I was filling gas, or if I was grocery shopping or whatever, I would just use my credit card. Now, I would swipe it as much as possible because then at the end of the week, I would then go into my checking account. And since I would have all this money there, I would just go and pay off the balance immediately. So I would treat it kind of like a charge card. Well, I did this over the years, so much so that my original credit limit, which was $500 when I was beginning to build my credit, rose. Fast forward, 10 years later, that credit limit with that account is now $35,000. The reason why I did this is to build my credit line. Now, for some of you watching this, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that seems pretty easy, or I don't have a credit card, or maybe you're like, what are you talking about? Why don't you just use your debit card? Well, you could use your debit card, but then you're not utilizing your revolving door accounts, right? Again, if you remember the other video that I posted about the 5 key factors that affect your credit card, I'll put the link down in the description below. The more you utilize your revolving accounts in this responsible manner that I'm suggesting. Now, disclaimer, I'm no financial planner or advisor. I'm just a realtor. And keep in mind too, obviously there's multiple ways of doing these things. I just thought it'd be cool to share my experience and hopefully give you guys some insight and hopefully be helpful for you guys to be able to do the same thing. But in using my credit card accounts this way and being able to pay it off by the end of the month, it kept me from accumulating high credit card debt balances, but at the same time, it allowed me to show credit bureaus and also lenders that even if I was borrowing a lot, I would be able to pay it off in a short amount of time. So whether you're opening up another credit card account, specifically for the points incentives that they're giving, that's how you should responsibly and strategically leverage those credit card accounts in your favor. Now, the second thing that I did was, that's right, you guessed it, I bought a car. So if we rewind back in time, when I got back from Brazil, a lot of my friends had moved out of their home and were living either with roommates in an apartment or on campus. Well, I decided actually to stay at home and live with my parents. And instead, I thought, well, what could I do to help me build my credit? I took out a car loan. Now, my parents are far smarter than I was, and I spoiled myself. And instead of getting, the Honda or the Camry or, something affordable, last a long time, and still would benefit me from a financial standpoint, established credit, taking out a loan, and then paying it off over the years until it matures, I decided to get a Mercedes-Benz. Now, before you guys start raging in the comments below and saying,
dude, what are you doing? Why are you spending so much money on a Benz? Like, that doesn't make any financial sense. You're an idiot.
And like all these things, that may be true. I maybe should have gotten another car, but I didn't. I was young, I didn't listen to my parents, and maybe this is me learning the hard way. However, I am fortunate because I got Lucy in the spring of 2013. I got it certified pre-owned. Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, it just means that there was a previous owner who owned the car and he had it for less than 2 years. And before Mercedes-Benz could sell it again, they ran it through 109 or 114 point inspection. They had it serviced, cleaned, of course, and then put back in the market to sell. And that's where I bought it. I bought it with 7,000 miles. I'm the second owner, and now it's at 106,000 miles. So I've almost put 100,000 miles into this car in the short years that I've owned it. And that's because I live in Atlanta. And in Atlanta, for those of you watching who live here, know that anywhere you go, you have to drive, and it's at least 30 minutes, right? So I've put a lot of miles on my car, and because I was living on campus, I was commuting back and forth. Now, I worked throughout my college years driving this car, and even though I had a $565 car note for 5.5 years, I never had any missed payments, and I paid it off. I paid it off actually last year. Last July was my last payment, and it was the best day ever because I was freeing up that much money from my income on a monthly basis, which now I've been able to save to now invest in other avenues. So while yes, this was a very expensive first purchase, after interest expense and everything, over the 5 years, I ended up paying $35,000 for this car. I have only spent about $4 grand, I would say, in total as far as maintenance goes to keep the car running. I've had no problems whatsoever. Let's knock on some wood here. I want to find some wood to knock on. Knock on some wood, right? So as far as credit building goes, I mean, it was awesome, right? Because at the end of the loan, here I am, fast forward 7 years later, and I'm now able to shop at the current premier tier of rates as far as interest goes, whether it's a personal loan that I need for investment purposes, or if I'm shopping for homes on the market, I'm now able to buy and shop. It's like these guys want to get close to me. I don't get it. So basically what I'm trying to say is you don't have to be like me and buy a super expensive car, but if you do decide to stay home and you still want to help build your credit wherever stage you are, or you don't stay at home and you move out and you can still afford to finance a car, I definitely suggest trying to finance something so that you can establish some sort of long-term loan that you can commit to without making any missed payments and pay it off in full to then be, you know, the outright owner of that vehicle that will continue to help you make money, but also further benefit you from an established credit standpoint. If you liked this video, then go ahead and smash that like button for me and hit the subscribe, because you know I post videos every single Monday at 6 and you don't want to miss out. Tag a friend, leave a comment, share it with the world, because doing these things helps with the YouTube algorithm so that more people can watch it, and it helps the channel too. With that being said, I've actually got to go. I'll catch you guys in next week's video. Thanks for watching. Peace.